policies that are truly helping children and their families.
マニフェストについて一言だけ申し上げます。
In regard to the manifesto, I would like to make one quick comment.
私は先般記者会見で、2009年の総選挙の際のマニフェストについて、大部分は実現しているが一部実現していないものがあると申し上げました。
In a recent press conference, I made the statement as Secretary General that in regard to the manifesto of the DPJ, Democratic Party of Japan, in the 2009 general election, I mentioned that most of the general part of the manifesto, most of the items have already been fulfilled or accomplished, but there are some aspects that have not yet been accomplished.
実現しないものについて、その理由を国民に説明する責任があると申し上げました。
I also explained that for those promises or the pledges that we had not yet been able to realize, I also mentioned that we had a responsibility to explain to the people why they had not yet been realized.
例えばリーマンショックによる税収の大幅減とか、それから今回の大震災によってより優先して支出しなければならないことが出てきたということが理由になります。
For example, the fact that as a result of the Lehman shock, tax revenues plummeted much more than we had expected, and also in regard to the earthquake and tsunami disaster, as a result, there were many more issues that came that certainly took on a new, higher urgency. We had to change the priorities of our policies.
参議院において我々が過半数を失って、野党との妥協が成立しないと実現できなくなる。さっきの子ども手当はその例ですけれども、そういうものもあります。
I also explained that as a result of the past upper house election, we had lost a majority in the upper house, and as a result, we were forced into a situation where we had to compromise with the opposition parties in order to get anything done. And the child allowance issue I referred to earlier is a very good example of this.
ただ、やはりマニフェストを作成した段階から、やはり見通しが十分ではなかったというものもある。で、そういうことについては、私は国民にお詫びを申し上げるというふうに申し上げます。
But I also went on to explain that when we put together the manifesto, there were some aspects where we had not been adequate enough in our planning or in our forecast, and for that, I explained to the Japanese people that I would like to apologize for this slide.
これをもって、何と言いますか、マニフェストを全面撤回するとか、変えるとか、そういう報道の一部にありますが、私が申し上げたのは先ほどの通りであるという、それ以上のことを申し上げたわけではありません。国民に対して正直でなければならない、そういう思いで申し上げたところです。
In regard to this press conference, I would like to make clear, although there were some media reports that as a result of my comments, some media said that the DPJ was therefore planning to completely take back the entire manifesto or completely change the pledges in the manifesto. This is not the truth at all. The truth is, as I have just explained, I believe very, very strongly that it is important to be honest with the Japanese people.
さて、大震災を経て、今まで第一次、第二次の2つの補正予算を成立させました。先般、復興の基本方針も先週末に決定したところです。
Moving on to other subjects, since the earthquake and tsunami disaster, we have been able to pass the first and second, in other words, 2 supplementary budgets. Also, over the past weekend, we were able to put together the fundamental plan for the recovery and reconstruction efforts.
これからこの基本方針に基づいて本格的な復興のための第3次補正予算を編成していかなければなりません。
As a result of the formulation of this basic policy for reconstruction, we now need to put together a budget, a third supplementary budget, so that we will have enough funds to realize this reconstruction.
これは非常に重要なことで、私これから組む補正予算に復興の会議がかかっていると言ってもいいではありません。
I think this is a very, very important issue. In fact, I do not think it would be an overstatement to say that Whether or not we succeed with reconstruction depends on this third supplementary budget. In other words, the key to success lies in this supplementary budget.
そのために財源も用意しなければなりません。
Of course, in order to be able to effectively have risk recovery or reconstruction efforts, we must be able to secure the funds necessary.
約13兆円の財源が必要で、当面は国債を発行するわけですが、その償還についてもしっかりと示す必要があると考えています。基本方針に書かれていることです。
We believe that some 13 trillion yen in funds are going to be necessary to effectively proceed with reconstruction efforts. For the immediate future, we are planning to issue government bonds to cover these costs. We also need to put together a very, very clear statement about what our plans to redeem these redemption plans for these government bonds are as well. Actually, the details of all of this are in the basic policy for reconstruction.
今、党の中で議論しておりますが、政府の資産の売却とか、あるいは無駄な経費を削減することで、どれだけ出せるか、精力的に検討を行っているところです。しかし、それで足らないところは、それは税制措置によって賄わなければならない。
In addition to this, we in the party are immediately at present involved in very, very vigorous, heated discussions to try to see how much other monies we can raise within the government. What I mean by this is, what can we sell in terms of government assets? How much more waste can we eliminate within the government administration? Having said this, however, in the final analysis, if these efforts are not enough to secure the funds that we need, then we will have to consider other measures such as tax measures.
例えば政府は東京メトロの株を売却するということをメニューの一つに挙げておりますが、私はそれだけではもちろん十分ではなくて、NTT や JT の株についても一定の範囲で売却すべきであると、そういうことも検討すべきであると考えます。
Of course, in regard to the selling of government assets, one thing that is being discussed and one thing that I think certainly is on the menu for us as an option is the selling of the stocks of the Tokyo Metro subway system company that the government currently possesses. I do not believe, however, that these assets are going to be enough. In other words, I think that other stocks that are held by the government, for example, NTT stocks, JT or Japan Tobacco stocks, should also be considered, and some of those assets also be considered to be sold.
その上で税制措置を国民にお願いしなければいけない。これもやはり率直に正直に国民の皆さんに被災地の復興のために必要であるということを説明すれば、私は理解が得られると確信をしております。
On top of this, however, in spite of all of our efforts, if we do not have enough funds, we will have to, I believe, turn to the Japanese people and ask for their understanding and acceptance of the fact that we will have to implement some tax measures to secure the remaining revenues. I believe that if one takes an honest and frank and direct approach and explains the situation clearly and honestly to the Japanese people, explain to them that we need to implement these tax measures in order to secure enough funds to help the people in the devastated areas, I believe that we will be able to get the understanding of the Japanese people.
被災地に対するさまざまな対策はこの第3条補正予算である程度カバーされますが、それでも残る問題がやはり原子力、放射能の問題だと思います。
In regard to many of the problems that are being faced by the people in these devastated areas, I believe that if we're able to put together this third supplementary budget and if we're able to implement the different plans that we have put in this basic policy, then I think many of the problems that are faced will be resolved. However, after all of this has been done, there is still another remaining and very deep and serious issue, and that is the problem of the nuclear power plant accident and the radioactivity that remains.
一つはやはり人に放射能を及ぼす影響、特に子どもに、これは何十年としっかりとですね、影響をトレースしてですね、そして対応していかなければいけない問題です。
The first and most pressing issue, of course, is the effect of radiation on people, in particular on children. I think that this is going to mean that the government will have to take a very long-term approach, spanning decades, to track and trace the effect of radiation on people.
もう一つは放射能に汚染された土地の除染の問題で、これも膨大な費用と時間のかかる問題だと思います。
Also, another problem is the radioactivity tainted soil that remains in many of these areas. The decontamination efforts are going to require a tremendous amount of money and a tremendous amount of time.
いずれにしてもこれらの問題は長くて苦しい戦いになります。日本政府が全力を挙げて対応していかなければいけない。国民の皆さんにもそのための負担もお願いしていかなければいけない。そういうふうに思います。
In any event, these are problems that are tremendous in scope, and as a result, it is the only way we're going to be able to overcome these problems is to engage in a long-term, very bitter and harsh battle against these issues. I think the entire government of Japan will have to come together to pull all of their strengths together to overcome these issues, and I think we're going to have to turn to the Japanese people and ask for them to bear some of the burden.
最後に原子力の問題について申し上げたいと思います。
And finally, I would like to again touch upon this issue of the nuclear power plant accident. Sorry, I'm sorry, not the nuclear power plant accident, but rather nuclear power energy policy.
当面の問題としてはやはり原子力発電所の現在休止しているものを再稼働させる問題。これは客観的なテストに基づいて、再起動させなければならないと思います。全部が止まったままではやはり日本のエネルギーは賄えないということをきちっと政治が説明する責任があると思います。
Well, the first issue that, of course, faces us is what to do about the nuclear power plants that are currently stopped for inspection, that are not operating at present. Whether or not they should be operated again, that decision is going to be based on objective testing that is going to be done. And I believe that if these test conditions are met, then a decision will have to be made to restart some of these power plants. The reason is that if all of the power plants stop, if all of these reactors stop, then Japan will definitely face an energy shortage, electricity shortage. And I think this is a fact that needs to be clearly and honestly explained to the Japanese people.
菅総理はストレステストを課すということを言われました。私総理に言われたこと間違ってはいないと思いますが、しかしそれは本来は数ヶ月前にそういった方針を作って、そしてそういったテストを開始すべきであると、非常に遅れたのは残念であると、総理には強く申し上げました。
I of course understand that Prime Minister Khan has said that he wants to conduct stress tests. I fundamentally believe that his words or his approach is not wrong. It is not incorrect. However, this is something that should have been done several months ago. In other words, policy for implementing stress tests should have been put together several months ago, and they should already have been launched some months ago. I think it is very, very unfortunate that his presenting this idea came at such a late date, and I explained my reservations to him.
中長期的なエネルギーの課題として原子力エネルギーというものをどう位置づけるか、これは私は冷静に国民的な議論が必要だと思います。もちろん100年後であれば原子力に依存しない社会になっているかもしれませんが、それが30年後、50年後どうなのかということについては、これは冷静な議論が必要だと思います。私は結論を出しているわけではありません。
In regard to Japan's medium and long-term energy needs and where nuclear power will fit into the long-term or medium-term energy needs of Japan, I think what we need to see in Japan is calm and rational debate among the Japanese people. Certainly, if we're talking about something very, very far off in the future, if we're talking about Japan 100 years from now, then I can see that people would say we should not be dependent on nuclear energy 100 years from now. However, in regard to 30 years from now or 50 years from now, I think, as I mentioned earlier, we need calm and rational debate among the Japanese people. I am not presenting a solution or a conclusion here. I'm simply saying that we need to have this calm and rational debate.
ドイツなどとは日本は電力を買うことができませんので、ドイツとは違う条件のもとにあるということも事実だと思います。